What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I want to break down what's happening with the overall market this far, when the big data is coming out for the day, what you should be watching for on the charts. But before I break the doubles information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500 into the account, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. You deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends very soon in just 3 weeks. Anyways, for SPY, as you guys can see, this thing's trying to push a little bit during the pre-market, approaching this resistance at 520, exactly as we predicted yesterday. But I just want to note that we have to watch how we end up reacting to this resistance to see if we can come up to fill this imbalance. And even if we do try to push higher, don't forget that we have some very tight resistance at the 524 area, which is where SPY is rejected very close to 3 times. So I'm going to break down more details about this chart in just a couple of minutes. I first want to talk about some data. So what's happening for the data for the day? Today is Monday, April 8th, 2024. It's Monday, and don't forget that at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Consumer Inflationary Expectations Report, and at 11:30 a.m. we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. So around the hour of 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a couple of hours after the market opens, we have quite a bit of data coming out when it comes to inflationary expectations and bill auctions. So watch for some volatility at this time. There might be some interesting moves in the markets during this time as the data is released. And then we also have Cash Kari giving a speech from the Fed, who tends to be one of the most hawkish Fed speakers. So that's going to be later on during the day, though. Actually, I would say like closer to the evening time. So that's something else that's worth noting. But this is when you should be watching for some volatility. For news involving the markets, I just want to talk about a couple of things. Right now, many of the major averages are beginning to rebound from the Dow Jones, not to mention the Nasdaq Composite and the S&P 500. So trying to see some improvement right now, and we'll see how this continues moving forward. But on top of all of this, the central bank may not be done hiking rates, as we had Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman come out, and she was saying that the rates may have to increase again to control inflation if we end up seeing another spike. So we have to be very, very careful. And this is very important because a lot of these Fed speakers and other officials are warning of another risk of inflation going up. And I do agree with that, looking at the current data. The U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that she would not rule out potential tariffs on China's green energy exports. And she said that this is very important, that we have to keep everything on the table. We want to work with the Chinese to see if we could find a solution. That's very, very important news. And then last but not least, we have TSMC coming out. Arizona's subsidiary will receive up to about $6.6 billion in government funding under the preliminary agreement announced by the Biden administration. This is very important. This is also going to lead to funding from the CHIPS and Science Act. And that is what's been announced so far. Something worth noting. So I just wanted to call that out as well. Very important for the semiconductor industry. As far as Tesla goes, I'm not seeing too much news other than this right here. There's going to be a big trial going on over an autopilot crash, which is a little bit negative for Tesla. This news is going to be going to the superior courts in California. So that's some very important news. So we'll see how this goes for them. Not the best news for Tesla, at least. So for SPY, we're looking bullish right now. This thing is making a nice little uptrend right here. And now we're approaching this resistance at 520. We'll have to see if we break this. It does look like it's going to attempt to push higher and test this. If it breaks through this high, because last time we hit this on Friday, we got a little rejection. We could attempt to break it again. If we break it, we're going to be pushing to this imbalance just under 522. If we break through this, we could be going up to about 524. You're going to be looking for an attempt to push a little higher, whether we test this resistance go a little bit higher. But we could be making our move back down later on. And I do see kind of like a pop and drop like move coming for today. Watch support at 518.5 to 517.5. 516.5, then 515 as some tight supports on SPY. If we lose 515, watch 512, followed by 510. So what I think this is going to do is we're going to see an attempt to push higher, at least for now, as the chart is still looking bullish. We're going to be testing this 520 resistance to see how it reacts. Could go a little bit higher, but then once we get all the way up to this imbalance, we could see us end up rejecting, coming back down, and continue to trade in this range. So I think that's very, very likely. I'm going to be watching this resistance very carefully. For Tesla, we're looking a little bit weaker than the market after that news came out about the trial, but Tesla's trying to fight to hold 168. If we push, watch 170.5 as resistance, followed by 172. And for support, if we lose 167.8, we're going to be coming all the way down to 165, or a little bit under that, followed by 162. Tesla could rebound a bit, retest 170.5 thanks to SPY holding up, kind of stay in this range for some time. Then eventually later on, there's a risk of it coming down to fill this gap at 165, and we could just continue to trade sideways in that range as well. So look for a little rebound and attempt to come back up before we come back down to fill this gap and trade a little bit sideways in my personal opinion. For the QQQ, I'm seeing something very similar. So it was trying to push up as well, but watch 442's resistance. If we break through this, watch 440, watch 444, excuse me. And if we come back down, watch support at 440.6. If we lose that to the 20 EMA, we're coming all the way down to 438, followed by 436. So we're showing some weakness right over here. We're actually kind of struggling at the 200 EMA. Could pop a little bit more, retest the highs from Friday, maybe go a little higher, then come back down, or we could even just come back down from here to retest 440. And if we lose this, look for a move back down. That's a real possibility, so just be careful on the triple Q. So a little pump and drop like move is very probable. For Aapl, we're just still within this range between 169 and 170. Watch resistance at 169.5 and also 169.69. We're kind of stuck right now, so we'll just have to see how it goes. It might just pop a little bit more, then come back down and just trade sideways for some time. But if we lose 169, we turn back to bearish. I wouldn't be surprised if we come all the way down to about 168.5. So I think we're going to trade sideways in this range, and there's a risk of it dropping later on. So watch for that very, very carefully. For Super Micro, I just wanted to call out that we're kind of flat right now. It is showing an attempt to push. Could be retesting 980 a share before it comes back down. So that's going to be our resistance. So watch for that very carefully. And we'll see if we break that. If we end up breaking 980, we could be going to 1,000. If we reject off 980, we're going to be coming back down. So I'm going to be watching that test as well for that. Coinbase is actually showing a little bit of life. We actually gapped up right over here, but don't forget that we have support at 250. If we lose 250, we come back down to fill the gap. If we hold 250, we could be bouncing, so I'll be watching this very carefully on the sidelines. And like I said in my video from yesterday, so far Meta looks bullish. Going to be testing this 530 resistance. If we break this, look for a bigger push. We bullish wedge forming, so it could push a little bit higher, so watch 530. If we break that, we could get closer to 535. So far it's showing some life. Microsoft is showing some life as well. If we can keep pushing a little higher, we could be approaching 428. And we also have Amzn showing a little bit of life. Watch 188 as this resistance. We could even push higher from here, but there's a rising wedge-like structure forming. If we break 188, watch for 190 coming next. As of right now, these charts are still looking bullish. So there is potential in the market to push higher, but we're approaching some tight resistance, especially on SPY as we approach 520. 524 is going to be a key resistance, so watch it for now, and then watch and see what reaction we get at 11 o'clock a.m. as we have some more data coming out from consumer inflationary expectations to the bill auctions. All right, so thank you all for listening. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to definitely see you guys in just a couple of hours to give you guys another intraday update. With that being said, make sure you watch your levels and do what's necessary for your own portfolios. Thank you for listening. Tesla in the market to the moon because the long term is still incredibly bright despite what we're seeing right over here. And I think, did I skip over Nvda? By the way, for Nvda, I think I forgot this one. I just realized that. Sorry about that, guys. Watch 892's resistance. If we push up for Nvda, I could see it actually pushing a little bit more. And then it might just trade sideways around here. If it breaks, this could go up to about 900, then trade sideways. So 892 to 900 could be coming, then we end up trading sideways. Sorry about that, guys. I forgot Nvda at the very, very end. With that being said, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys soon on the next one, and peace out.